not a sector to easily operate in. Sometimes we face challenges from not just the private sector, from government. At the same time, we have benefit from private sectors, and we also have benefit from the government.
We have serious opportunities available at our disposal. We are in the era of massive opportunity, but we can't take advantage of the opportunities until we can smell those opportunities, sight them, work hard on them, and churn out the goodness out of those opportunities. And how we will take advantage of those opportunities is what this platform provides us. We're going to be addressing a whole lot. We're going to be looking at the four critical aspects, sometimes where we do not even see money, we do not see opportunity, and we do not probably really see big value in, and we're going to see how we can create more value for our various businesses.
I work with Middle Chase Limited. So I'm here today at the Property Developers Forum. It's a forum that brings together property developers in the real estate space to see how the real estate industry can grow. So I'm here today to learn, unlearn, and relearn so I can scale up my profession as a realtor, and I hope to have, an insightful time listening to the keynote speakers and every speaker that will be speaking at the event.
Property development is almost like life itself. In fact, property development is life. And in life, we have the beginning stage, that's the initiation stage, and we have the dying stage. But sometimes, I know that for most of us, we don't believe in reincarnation. But sometimes, unlike your regular life and all that, you also have reincarnation in businesses. So a business can die and still come back again. Or a business will probably just like Jesus Christ resurrect. But we're going to be looking at how we can address some of the fundamentals that will help us to grow.
Well, Property Developers Forum, what I know, I am actually here to learn, and I know that this is a great opportunity to expound my knowledge as regards property in Lagos, Nigeria, or the real estate market as a whole. So I'm just here for it, basically. Oh, I'm looking forward to gain everything amazing in the real estate space, including being the best in the market and selling good properties, of course. The market, of course, is really, really saturated, but getting the best out of the best is what we're looking forward to.
So what do I need to master? So I can consciously develop the competence for building, for going through the various process. It's like Albert Einstein, this one attributed what I did. He said, we can't solve a problem by using the same strategy or the same solution when it was first created. It simply means in the light of whatever we're discussing now, you cannot solve the system. You cannot use the system of survival to expand. You cannot use the system of leadership to do what? To stabilize your business. You can't. There must be every day new thinking, new solution, new innovation. New opportunities will always come to you on a daily basis when you have developed the competence per time. So you cannot use one solution to solve all solutions. You must keep looking for. And sometimes you can call it, in our own case, you can call it updating. In technical words, you call it update. You update your system. So you update your process, you update your competence per time. It's like the only true job of a property developer, I will often say, is creation. Invention, envisioning things. There's no other title that makes you a property developer other than the role of a creator. So what is a creation? What is a creator? What does a creator? What is the job of a creator? You create things that is usable and that can be used. That is useful and is used. and can be used. Slide. Growth in every stage, on every stage, is not built on emotion, it's built on system. During the second section, we're going to be having to talk about that much more. But every growth that you see is not built on emotion. It's not built on hand me down. You hand me down to a son, you hand me down to a father, you hand me down to an uncle, you give role to family members. It's going to come by deliberate system that you have put in place, that you have mastered. And that is one of the reasons why most of us, we are not moving further than our nose. We are not moving further in life or in our game. Because what we are simply doing is that some of the things that we are running them with emotion. We want growth, but sometimes we are running them as we are led.
Today's conference is about development property forum. Yeah, where realtors come from all over to learn more, to grow in business, to grow in everything. Like, everything that used to be learned today. We're open to all.
Because coming into this industry, I always felt that there must be ways we can join up the dots between different parts of our economy. And for those who are relatively new to the sector, when we think about real estate, we think about homes and houses and buildings and apartments and condos. But actually, one of the things I've always found is our policymakers and our governments, our politicians don't really take the sector as seriously as we should. Because real estate is actually central to economic prosperity. Think about it. So I'm going to give you 6 or 7 ways in which it is actually crucial. Think of just the mere fact of having an address. When you fill the form, when you're asked for your utility bill, when you're asked to fill in your mortgage application, when you want to apply for a passport, it is actually central to the life as we know it. And then you think about other aspects of economic development, such as energy access. We're all talking about global energy access. But what is the concept of energy, water, sanitation in the absence of brick and mortar?
Property Development Forum, and today I'm here to learn. I need to learn a lot about real estate, because real estate is so vast and new ideas are coming up, and there are so much experienced people that are going to be talking today. They're going to be speaking at this event, and I need to be there, and that's why I'm here. So I'll see you guys later. I hope to learn. I really want to learn from these great minds. If you see the people that are here, they're so good, man. They're so good. All right, guys, thank you.
Dispelling 5 common myths of Lagosians' urban life. And I hope this also highlights what we are trying to do at Mixter as a Pan-African developer. Infrastructure is at the core of what we do. That is our unique value proposition, infrastructure. So the first myth is what I call pedestrian psychology. And the myth, which I'm going to try and dispel, is that the average Lagosian pedestrian is irrational. How many people think here the average Lagosian pedestrian is irrational? Irrational. That's the myth I want to dispel. So this myth came about, one of those days I was driving on the weekends, and I was on Lekki Ekwe Expressway, and sites that we see every single day, people just risk life and limb to cross from one side of the road to another. And there's a footbridge there, and I'm thinking to myself, the people who constructed the footbridge, did they not think this through? And the people who are crossing the road, I don't understand, just get on the footbridge. And one of the things that occurred to me is that most of the people on one side of the road are running to catch a bus on the other side. So there is a sort of scarcity mindset that exists because we don't have a thriving urban mass transit system, right? So by calculations, the shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line. It's much faster for me to cross the road than to walk upstairs, cross over, and run down the stairs. Because by the time I get to the other side, guess what? The bus is gone, right? So it's not that the pedestrian is irrational. Actually, they're very rational. Because what they're doing is that they're responding to an infrastructure and urban landscape that doesn't adequately meet their needs. So that's the number one myth. The average Lagos pedestrian is actually not irrational. The second myth is that Lagosians are addicted to their cars. And this was really interesting when I came up with this myth, and then I was trying to dispel it. actually a global walkability index of cities. And Lagos doesn't even feature anywhere near the top 100, 150, no surprises. But there's some cities which are described as highly walkable, somewhere like Amsterdam in the Netherlands, or some city in Europe, or even some of the Japanese cities. And why are they walkable? Because the cities have been built in such a way that they take into account the needs of each type of user. So if you have paved walkways, you have cycling tracks. Now, all of this might sound very idealistic for the Lagos we all want to see, but it is not that Lagosians are addicted to their cars. It's just that our cities have evolved and developed in a way that no longer meet our needs. And guess what? If we took more cars off the road, we would contribute less to global warming. And then myth number 3, this is going to be a controversial one for developers and homeowners, maybe not landlords, is that every Lagosian wants to own a home. Now, how many people really believe that every Lagosian wants to own a home? Oh, actually, that's interesting. I'm actually pleasantly surprised. So this concept that we see homeownership as aspirational actually is not really true. So if you look at what is happening in the market today, we still have a thriving rental market. And I know people whose maxim is they buy to rent and they rent to live, right? Because it makes sense from an investment perspective. If I had the ability to live and work close to our business in Victoria Island, I would find a nice apartment to rent there. I'd probably buy a home in VGC and rent it out, right? So it's not like homeownership is less aspirational. It's just a rational investment proposition for me, right? So as developers, the onus is us is look at ways we can pivot within the market and the realities of the market we live in. And then myth number 4, neighborhood stickiness. So this is something as I define as, for example, once a Lekki phase 1er, always a Lekki phase 1er. That doesn't actually really hold true. Because if you think about many, many decades ago, think about what all the communities along the Lekki Expressway looked like. There was literally nothing there. And most of the people who live in the Lekki axis today, Etiosa, Ibeju Lekki, Shangotedo, many of those people, their parents or generations before them lived where? On the main road. But why were they incentivized to migrate all the way to that part of town? It was because of the evolution of infrastructure, community life, residential, commercial, mixed-use developments. So people will naturally be incentivized to go where they can create life for themselves. So this concept of neighborhood stickiness doesn't hold sway. So when you as a developer are marketing property in that way, of course people are going to ask you questions, there's nothing there. But I could easily have said the same thing for Lekki Phase 2, for Ekate, for Chevron, for BGC. I could have said the exact same thing 20 years ago. So what that says to me is that there are real first mover advantages, even in the Lagos market.
The event is much more about taking a new phase, helping to move the various stages for every property developer. Property developers are now ready to play the big game. But in a bit of playing the gig game, you need to be able to make certain adjustments, and those adjustments are the things we looked at today. Adjustment in the area of marketing, adjustment in the area of structuring your business, adjustment in the area of raising funds for your business, adjustment in the area of positioning and property managing. What is the end result of the development that you are that you put up as a property developer? It shouldn't be that, okay, after sale, nothing happens again and all. So those are the areas, critical areas that we looked at today. And I think the panel section for this event was even more exciting and insightful for property developers or those who are also in attendance today.
But I'm going to ask a question that's probably on the top of mind of a number of people. Please, can you expand Lekki Warner?
Great question. I wasn't expecting that, Ayo. But I think it's this idea that when we're building, I lived in the UK for 19 years, and if you know anything about London, you're a South Londoner. So when you're moving house or renting an apartment, you tend to generally stay within that vicinity because you've come to know the shops there, you've come to know the entertainment areas there. So this idea of neighborhood stickiness is that you don't generally, throughout the course of your life, move out of the suburb that you've grown up in. But the reason that concept works well in many developed markets is because they've really mastered the art of creating one-stop communities. So if you live in a small part of South London, you know that you have a cinema to go to on a Sunday. You know that there's a grocery store just within a stone's throw. You know that there's a clinic, there's schools in the neighborhood. And if we want to incentivize that type of living in a city like Lagos, then developers, the public sector, everybody needs to work hand in hand. But the reason that people who now live in the extended Lekki axis, BGC and all these areas, Aja, decided to relocate many years ago from either the mainland, wherever, it was because the developers and the stakeholders had the foresight to realize that we needed to find a way to draw and attract people. But we need more and more of that. And so the whole message, and we need to do it in an affordable way. And land access is going to be key. So the whole message is there needs to be so much more collaboration to not only build the required housing infrastructure, but also to make that housing infrastructure affordable and accessible.
Honestly, especially in your experience, is it achievable in Nigeria?
As you mentioned, honest answers, trying to, it's achievable, but it will take a lot of work, a lot of unlearning, relearning, and just basically, everyone just wants to make it work. Otherwise, nah, it won't work.
What would you identify as some of the challenges and how we could mitigate those challenges so that this is achievable?
Thank you so much. Maybe I would just like to step a little bit out of the space and the question to really be able to comment on what has to be done. So the problem so often is really not the problem. The problem is always what we think the problem has. And in order for us to build this community and really make everything connected and work, we need to begin to rethink the way that development, the way the ecosystem needs to be built. And that always tends towards value creation. And that's the base of the reason why we start a project, but we keep changing the timeline, the milestone, because we are unable to attract enough people to picking them up, to signing up. Because the marketing, the sales cycle, and when you also look at what is going on in the economy, is also not helping. So the income is not really coming in. The infrastructure is not really there. Then government also has their own part to play in terms of the infrastructure that developers have to create themselves. A friend was telling me now that they have to fix the road. They have to buy transformer. They even have to rub the palm of some politicians to even get some things work. This is insane. It's not normal. So at the end of the day, you could work in the UK, you could work in South Africa. But when you bring in those other factors in, a lot of things begins to change. So even when you've got the best plan out, and when you are even pitching to investors out there to come into your business, there are so much factors that would literally change every 3 months, in which you've added that with your memo or information you've sent to them. Before they even review and get back to you, a lot of stuff already changed.
After the property has been constructed, who handles it? Would you say, who's responsible for it? Is it the one who's constructed it? In your line of business, who would you say is responsible?
So if I get a question correctly,
Yes.
who's responsible for handing over the buildings?
Yes.
Of course, it's the developer, right? So developer takes the initiative to start the construction,
Yes.
You know, so I mean, there's the conceptualization stage, and you have the construction stage, and of course, you have the handover. You know, whatever has at the beginning definitely has got it at the end. You know, and I mean the timelines in between these milestones are very critical. You know, it's critical to based on material resourcing, manpower, man hours, and a whole lot of stuff. You know, also you mentioned collaboration. I feel government collaboration is key for us to be able to manage our delivery times. You know, the timelines for delivering our projects. You know, because a lot of times, you know, more money is spent on infrastructure. You know, like you said, you know, if government is going to collaborate with private developers to minimize the costs of building an access road by 50%, it will really, really help. You know, it really, really help. But so much, you know, is done by the developers themselves. Spend chunks of millions on developing assets. I mean, fixing the roads that lead to the sites.
And I'm live here at the Property Developers Forum 2022. And so far, of course, it's been an amazing, amazing experience. I've learned a lot today, talking about structuring your business, structuring your development processes, you know. I mean, Coach Chudi mentioned that before you start thinking about expansion, you need to make sure you have gotten to that stage. He's talking about 4 stages of business growth. Yes, of course, he's talking about the survival stage, the stability stage, expansion stage, and of course, the one other stage, yes. But in all essence, he explained and he let me understand that before you move to a certain stage, you need to understand that you have grown past a certain stage and you need to move on to the next level. I also learned from Ms. Rolake today. She talked about the infrastructure bridge in Lagos State and how we need to get 2 Londons built every year in Lagos for us to bridge the infrastructure deficits in Lagos State, of course. And honestly, it has just been very insightful and experiencing and highly, highly exciting. So.
Until we get to the point where in our real estate space, where tech ensures that a lot of things are automated, even abroad where they have tech, the realtors are still play a vibrant, indispensable role in the value chain. So until we get to that point where we have the Internet of Things and from end to end the whole process is automated and digitized, the router is indispensable.
This is so powerful. I mean, it's like saying because you've got a nanny in your house, your daughter or your son shouldn't do anything. All right.
Today has been so awesome and it has been an exploratory session, I must say. So one of the basic things I'll be going on with today is the fact that we build to rent and also we rent to live. And one of the things the speaker said that actually inspired me is the quote of one Englishman that says, our life begins to change the moment we start thinking about the basic things that matters in life. And we also made to understand that whenever we are selling, we are made to understand that selling is not just we selling a property, we are selling a home. So we should expected to take that into consideration when talking with people. Thank you.
Food, clothing, and shelter. I have a different thought anyway. I mean, I feel money should have been the one and the only thing. I don't know where that came from, but I feel money should have been number one, if not the only thing, because, I mean, I would love to buy a pair of shoes with my mind or with my goodwill. I would have loved to do that. Okay, so, can I have my slide? Okay, thank you. Now, we're just going to do a bit of a run-through. We have the panel session afterwards, so this conversation will just lead us into it. We all know the problem we have in the country. We all know the Africa's problem of the housing deficit. So I'll just try my best not to bore you, and then we just go through. So we go.
For anybody, that is what, if you can't model my system and you can't copy my system effectively and take it out of our way of working, then I'm rest assured that whatever happens, whether somebody comes and goes, I am still going to be intact. There's no shaking.
All right. For me, whenever I see a report that states that one employee left the company, I see it as a bad luck for the employee because he was talking about system. If you create a very good system and structure in place, even if any employee should leave you, you will definitely see that employee as maybe the bad heads among the people that are working with you. So for us, the employees turnover is very low. I can say from the time we started to now, we have only have 2 employees that left the system. And what we do mostly is that we ensure that we put everybody into the business as a stakeholder in the business. So we all think together, we all have on every Monday, we have a management meeting where everybody feels as a part of the business, we contribute together and we move the business forward.
We need use all legal means to be able to take our projects or the property development career to the next phase. And how are we going to do so? We are going to do so through collaborative means. There is international institutions that want to invest with us, that want to be part of our success level, success rates, and all that. So how then will we get ourselves integrated in those kind of operation? It is by being in the arena. You can't be in the arena playing as a local champion. You can only be in the arena playing the solid game of real estate. And that's why we are inviting people to also join the platform, join the property gang team, because it's a community and it's a very strong one at that. We have serious-minded property developers with exciting projects and taking their project to the next phase and to the next to the next opportunity that the industry has to offer.
We sure hope you enjoyed this video. For more entertaining video content such as behind the scenes of music videos and movies, music concerts, premieres, interviews, and exclusive gists, subscribe now to our YouTube channel GoldmyneTV and be unleashed into a world of super excitement.